Okay, let's run a little thought experiment here. We're not talking about hype or wild speculation. No, this is about what would actually happen step by step if we saw a massive, sudden shift in the financial world. So let's just imagine.
Forget about the slow, gradual adoption of Bitcoin over years. I want you to picture something much, much faster, something far more dramatic.
I'm not talking about next month or next year. I mean, literally tomorrow. A single 24-hour period where the entire game changes.
Imagine a collective thought, a realization that just spreads like wildfire across the globe. A sudden, almost synchronized decision that the way things are is, well, it's over.
And this, right here, this is the catalyst. It's that one powerful thought echoed by millions of people at the exact same time. They're all making a run for the exits of the traditional system.
So, what happens next? Does the whole system just grind to a halt? Do the banks collapse? Does the government have to step in? I mean, what does this actually look like? Let's trace that first domino as it starts to fall. The very first thing, the most immediate effect, would be on the price of Bitcoin. But we're not talking about a nice, steady rally. Oh no, this is a shockwave. It's an explosion. And here's why. This is the fundamental rule of the game that changes everything. Unlike dollars or euros, which can be printed into existence, Bitcoin's supply is absolutely mathematically finite. There will only ever be 21 million of them, period. That's a law of the system that cannot be broken. And this creates the central problem, right? You have a literal flood, trillions and trillions of dollars from bank accounts all over the world, all trying to pour into this tiny, unchangeable reservoir of just 21 million Bitcoin. The physics of that just, well, it doesn't work out pretty. The immediate result would be pure, unadulterated chaos. We're talking about volatility like we've never seen before. The exchanges, the on-ramps for you buy this stuff, they would just freeze, completely overwhelmed. The gap between the buying price and the selling price would become massive. And liquidity, the ability to actually buy or sell, poof, gone. So forget about seeing a nice, clean line going up on a chart. It wouldn't look like that at all. What you'd see are these violent, stomach-churning jumps. It would be at one price 1 second, and then a split second later, it's an order of magnitude higher. It would just be a frantic, desperate scramble. But remember, all this money has to come from somewhere. And the traditional financial system, it's not just going to sit there and watch everybody leave. You better believe it's going to fight back. And here's a really critical thing to remember about how banking actually works. It's what's called a fractional reserve system. Your money isn't sitting in a little box in a vault with your name on it. Nope. The bank has already lent most of it out for things like mortgages and car loans and small business loans.
So when millions of people try to pull all their cash out at once to go buy Bitcoin, you trigger the classic anatomy of a bank run. The system starts to creak and groan. Banks will slam on the brakes, restrict access. Suddenly, there are technical issues everywhere. And of course, that just makes everyone panic even more, which makes even more people rush for the exits. And that's when the governments and the central banks step in. Now, their number one job is not to protect you or your ability to buy Bitcoin. Their one and only priority is to protect the stability of the entire system. That's it. So you can expect emergency press conferences, new regulations slapped on exchanges, and probably even temporary freezes on moving money around, all designed to stop the bleeding. But here's the real twist in the story. This isn't just about the old system failing. The Bitcoin network itself, the supposed safe place everyone is running to, would be pushed to its absolute breaking point. I mean, just think about it. Millions of brand new users all trying to get on the network and make a transaction at the same time. The whole thing would get incredibly clogged. Transaction fees would skyrocket, making it crazy expensive to send even a small amount. Exchanges would shut down again. Even the companies that hold Bitcoin for people would get overwhelmed. The entire crypto world would be undergoing a massive stress test all at once. So what you end up with is this huge split, a tale of two very different experiences. For anyone who already held Bitcoin, well, they'd be looking at unimaginable, life-changing gains. But for the millions of people rushing in at the last minute, they'd be buying into the most chaotic, volatile market in the history of the world, with a very real chance of buying at the absolute peak of the mania. Okay, so let's just pull back for a second. Let's step away from the nitty-gritty of prices and bank runs. What does an event like this, what does it actually signal about the state of the world?
This right here, this might be the single most important takeaway from this whole scenario. People don't just flee a system that's working perfectly fine. A mass migration like this, it isn't the cause of the crisis. It's the symptom of a crisis that was already underway. Because, when you really think about it, the foundation of any money system isn't gold or government rules or even technology. It's trust. It's just confidence. And when that trust starts to break down, when people stop believing that their savings are safe or that their currency will hold its value, they don't have a choice. They are forced to look for something else. And here's the kind of scary part. It doesn't take everybody. Systems have tipping points. If 5% of people leave, the system can handle it. But when you hit a critical mass, let's say 30% of people, when that many people lose faith and start to panic, that's when things can cascade into total failure. So when we boil this whole crazy scenario down, all the wild price charts and the market chaos, that's actually just noise. It's a distraction from what's really going on underneath. The real signal, the true emergency, is the deep, profound loss of confidence in the existing system, in banks, in governments, in the currency itself. That is the earthquake that causes the tsunami. So what this whole thought experiment really shows us is that the rise of something new isn't always about its own strengths. A lot of the time, it's about the failures of what came before. The real crisis isn't a new asset taking over, it's the breakdown of trust in the old one. And once that's gone, what happens next is truly anyone's guess.